Hey you guys! Ignore the AC in the background and the crazy hair, I haven't done it. But I felt like filming something that would kind of help you guys to get to know me a little bit better, so I'm going to film the 50 facts about me. And without further ado, I'm going to jump right in. Okay, so the first fact about me is that I am the youngest of 3 kids, although one of them is only 2 minutes older than me, Heather, she's my twin. And then my older sister, or our older sister, is 3.5 years older than us, I think. I am obsessed with miniature things, and when I was younger, I remember I found this recipe for a tiny cake, a 3-tiered cake that was about this big. It was like for the size of a Barbie, and you could cover it in fondant, and I remember I begged and begged my mother to let me make that, but then she never did. I love scary movies so much that anytime somebody asks me what kind of movie I want to watch, I will tell them scary. Lately, well, I guess it's been the past few months, but Heather and pretty much anybody who's in the car with me who I actually play the kind of music that I like hates it. I'm 5'3.5" / 5'4", depending on the day, I guess, and Heather will tell you that this has bothered me for as long as I've been this height, which is pretty much ever since 7th grade when I stopped growing. But I've always felt like I'm average, and I wish I was either shorter or taller. Like one extreme or the other, and I hate that I feel like I'm average. I don't know. I don't know if that's considered short or not. Heather hasn't heard any of these facts, so if she judges me or says anything offhand in the background, that's why. But if I could look like any person, I don't think I would change. If I had the option to change my appearance, I don't think I would, but if I could and if I were willing to, I would want to look like Emily Browning in Sucker Punch because I think she is the cutest thing ever. I have, how do you call them, episodes of sleep paralysis sometimes, and it's
old hag syndrome?
Yeah, or old hag syndrome, whatever you want to call it. It's basically where when you normally dream, your brain will paralyze your body so that you can't physically react to what's happening in your dream. But for me, when I experience sleep paralysis, is that I've woken up and I'm aware of everything and I can open my eyes a little bit usually, but I can't move even though I'm awake. And for me, when it happens, I hallucinate, where I'll see things or I'll hear things.
Seriously?
Yeah. And that's what scares me the most. And it's only ever happened to me when I've taken a nap or when I've been really exhausted and I'll just fall asleep not meaning to, so I don't really take naps anymore. The first thing that ever got me interested in videos and making videos and editing, when we were younger, our older sister, we had a video camera with the tapes. We used to make music videos to songs, and the one that I remember the most clearly is making a music video to Queen's Somebody to Love. And Heather was Freddie Mercury, and I played the backup, like the choir singing.
You're so right, because that part was weird.
Yeah. When we got our first MacBook, I think it was like a work laptop that my dad brought home, and we would play with iMovie, and we would just record on the webcam little scenes, or like I would interview myself where I would sit on one side and then I'd go to the other side and answer the question. We'd always punch each other.
Like ourselves.
Like, yeah, I would punch myself across the screen and then react to it like a second later. My favorite food is sausage balls, and I hate that they're called that, but if we have a pan made in the house, I will eat the entire pan over the course of probably 3 days. And that's because I'm pacing myself because I don't want to overdo it. I take pride in my handwriting. I think I have really good handwriting, and I started writing cursive a few years ago. I would write only in cursive because I really wanted to improve it, and now I only write in cursive and I think it's really pretty. Oh, which brings me to the next one, is that I love writing. I used to write not short stories, they were more like just stories that never ever got finished. I love reading, and my favorite book is Jane Eyre because I'm a hopeless romantic and I romanticize every situation that I'm in. I have never been out of the continental United States, which is so sad. Well, because Alaska, but that's, well, I mean, it's continental, you could get up there, but I don't even have a passport, but I'd like to change that. I don't know if this has the potential to offend anyone, and I don't mean for it to, it's just something about me. Like, growing up, Heather was always squeamish around blood. My thing that has always made me lightheaded and want to pass out has been bruises. I hate bruises so much. A year or two ago, I saw a picture of the singer from Carmen, that lady, and she cut her hair into a long bob and she went blonde, and I loved it. And ever since I saw that picture, I have wanted to be blonde. My favorite flower is a dahlia. Don't know why. I like the sound of the word, and I like the way they look. They're so puffy and cute. Even though I love scary movies, my favorite genre of movie, I think, I can be pretty fickle about this. Such a weird word. But I think my favorite genre of movie is a psychological thriller, like The Talented Mr. Ripley, The Silence of the Lambs, Requiem for a Dream, even though it really depressed me because I had no idea what it was about, so I was optimistic the whole time. I really, really, really love video games. I don't play war games like Call of Duty or Modern Warfare or anything like that. I like games that are adventure based and puzzle based. Tomb Raider Legend, Tomb Raider Anniversary, Tomb Raider Underworld, and then the Origins story one, Survivor.
This is our Survivor's one.
Yes. Batman and Skyrim, Assassin's Creed, Bioshock. Red Dead Redemption, I love that game so much. Grand Theft Auto 5. I don't really show emotions that much, and some people have been annoyed with me because I won't talk about things with them, but it's really just because I really just keep to myself most of the time if I have a problem. People are always confused as to what my ethnicity or race is, and I am Mexican and Spanish on my dad's side, and Dutch and Native American on my mom's side. I have the biggest sweet tooth ever. I am probably one of the clumsiest people I have ever encountered. I love roller coasters. I was really afraid that they would make me nauseous and that I would get sick from them, but they don't, so that's great. I played the cello from 6th to 8th grade year and then 1 year of high school, and the only reason I stopped was because I hated my teacher, but I still really love playing the cello, and I plan on buying one sometime in the future soon. I am a night owl in its truest definition. I don't ever get motivated to do things until it's nighttime. I've never had a boyfriend, which I'm totally okay with. That doesn't bother me at all. Housewife. I love baking stuff. I love baking, because if it's sweet, then I love it. One of my favorite days that I had experienced, I guess, this past year was there was a day that was really stormy, and it was springtime, so I could have the window open without dying of heat. So I opened the window and it was super stormy, and I remember I brewed myself some coffee, had a slice of chocolate cake, and I watched scary movies all day in my room with all the lights off, and that was one of my favorite days ever, and that's an ideal day for me. If I could have a day like that every day, maybe once a week, that'd be awesome. When my sister and I were 14, my dad worked for a company that was based in California, and we almost moved out there before our freshman year. But then my dad ended up not working for that company anymore, or he left, and so I never got to move to California. But ever since then, and all those trips, like going to back and forth with the intent and belief that I was going to live there, I have always wanted to live in California since then, and that is something that my sister and I have discussed since then, and something we possibly plan on doing. One of my favorite ways to pass the time is sitting in the passenger seat of somebody's car, driving, and just listening to music really loud. I don't have a driver's license, so I am always in the passenger seat, no matter what. Ever since I watched the Peter Pan with Jeremy Sumpter with the little fairies, I have always secretly believed and willed it to be true that fairies are real. Being 18 and going into college and everything leading up to that, people have always asked me what I wanted to major in, which is something that I've never had the answer for. Unfortunately, I guess I'm okay with that. But the one thing that I do know that I want to do with my life is travel. I don't currently have any tattoos, but I do have a few that I'd like to get. Nothing crazy like a sleeve or anything insane, but I do have a few tattoos that I'd like to get. This is kind of weird because I work at a tutoring center, but I actually don't really want to have kids. At least at this point in my life, I don't picture myself having kids. But I've always had names picked out, or at least one or two. But names that I have picked out are Rhiannon, because I love Stevie Nicks. And one of the other names that I've had picked out is Yuvie, because I saw that on a TV show once. There was a girl named Yuvi, and I thought it was such a pretty unique name, and so I've always wanted to name my little girl that if I were to have a little girl. And for a little boy, I would name him either Court or Jude. I was born on July 31st, along with my sister. I have never been to a concert, which I think is really sad. I blush very, 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 very easily. My favorite color is periwinkle blue, and I hate that it's called that. I've looked up alternative names for it, but that's just the perfect shade of blue to me. I think it's so pretty. I'm very fickle about the weather. When it's cold, and when it's Christmas time and like October getting into Thanksgiving and Christmas time, I love cold weather. As soon as New Year's is over, I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. I want hot weather. I want it to be hot so I can tan. But then right now it's hot, and in Texas the summer lasts forever, and I'm so ready for cold weather. I think for the most part I prefer colder weather just because I like dressing for colder weather more. Weirdly enough about me, because this is something that I probably wouldn't like to admit to anybody just because I don't believe this way anymore, but I was not a fan of Lana Del Rey when I first heard her, because I heard her on the radio for the first time and I was like, she's kind of overrated. Her song is so sad sounding, that video game song, and I was like, everybody likes her. I don't really like listening to the radio. But then I remember one Friday night I had nothing to do, so I just sat on YouTube and I remember I watched her video for Ride, converted. Ever since then, I have loved her so much. I really wish that my mom would have put me in ballet as a little kid. I think it's so cute to be a ballerina. I would love to have been a ballerina. Philip Glass is one of my favorite composers. He's like a minimalist pianist, and I love his music so much. I am always more comfortable filming with people in the room, which I feel like is so counterintuitive for most people. Like, they'd want to have the door shut and like nobody come in and let me just film my video, but I just feel so much better and more comfortable in front of the camera when people are in the room, which is so bizarre. I follow Heather around the house a lot when I don't know what to do and I'm bored, so I'll just do whatever she's doing, and I literally follow her around the house. Something that I was always told in high school, I mean, I'm barely out of high school, so it sounds like it was such a long time ago, but I was always told that I was too nice. But that's something I always took as a compliment, but sometimes people would tell me that not as an insult, but just kind of as something that was negative, which I thought was really funny. I built the Taj Mahal in Minecraft, and it's still under construction because I'm really bad about finishing things when I start them. Anyway, and it has an inside. I haven't done the interior yet. Oh man, that sounds so nerdy talking about it. I hate touching door handles in public, especially when you can see where it's been worn away, like the paint on the door or the metal coating on the door has been worn away from people touching it there so much. So I always touch the bottom of door handles, or if I can manage it, I won't touch them at all. And I guess the last fact about me is that this is really weird, but I tend to be louder and more outgoing around people that I don't know than with people that I do know. That's it, you guys! That's 50 facts about me! Woo! I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I thought it was fun to make. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I don't know where the button is. You know where it is. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye!